Sicily to the mainland 24 hours a day. All the year there are connections. We also have special ferry boats in the area of the port where today a cruise ship docked, where the trains enter. They are bigger than the normal ones, and they are used to carry the trains from Messina to the mainland. Because above all in the past, ladies and gentlemen, when aeroplanes were not so popular as today, people from Palermo, Catania, from another Sicilian town, they had to go to the northern part of Italy, where a lot of Sicilians moved. And so it was very comfortable for them to just take the train, cross the strait of Messina on board the train, and then continue their journey till the towns that were the goals of their travel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, from here there is the entrance of the motorway, as the green sign shows. Messina, ladies and gentlemen, is called the Gate of Sicily, La Porta della Sicilia. It's not only from the panoramic point of view, but also for the connections that there are from Messina to the rest of Sicily. While you arrive here, so from the mainland, you take the motorway and then you... Però così non vedono... Ah, però da fisica perché stanno... No, ma arriva in solo a te. No, per me non è un problema, preferisco che loro vadano. Now, from Messina, you take the motorway, and the motorway leads you to Palermo. That's the biggest Sicilian town, to Catania, the second largest Sicilian town, and from there you can reach the other smaller town. In Sicily we have 5 million inhabitants. The largest town is the capital town. We have a population of 1 million inhabitants in Palermo. In Catania there are 600,000 inhabitants, and in Messina we have 244 inhabitants. Here on the left, ladies and gentlemen, the church of San Francesco d'Assisi, unique example in Messina of a church in late Gothic style. The church was built in 1255 as the Pope sent from Rome the first building stone. There are some original stones in the area of the apsis and in the two main portals, while the rest of the church has been rebuilt several times. Next to the church there was a monastery. It was a very important one because it was the first monastery that the Franciscan monks have built in Sicily. But the monastery was destroyed so many times that it was not possible to rebuild it for a further time. Opposite to us, ladies and gentlemen, the statue of our patron saint, the Virgin Mary of the Ladder. Upon the brown basis there are some words. Vos et ipsam civitatem benedicimus. The words are in Latin, the official language of the church. The meaning is, I bless you and your town. Following to the religious chronicles, ladies and gentlemen, Maria wrote those words at the end of the blessing letter, because as Messina became a Christian town under the guide of St. Paul the Apostle, a group from Messina went to Ephesus to visit her. She was very happy and proud that she wrote a blessing letter. The words you can see here are the final words of the letter. And since Maria wrote the blessing letter, we call her La Madonna della Lettera, the Virgin Mary of the letter. What we are going to celebrate tomorrow, August the 15th, is the Assumption to the sky of Maria. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you look on the left side, there is the Fountain of Neptune, a work made by Giovan Angelo Montorsi in 1557. The fountain represents Neptune, who is going to calm the water of the Strait of Messina. On the left hand, he has got his weapon, a trident. But you can notice that at Neptune's feet, there are two creatures that have a very particular expression. Montorsi, a scholar of Michelangelo, portrayed them in the act of crying and screaming. The monsters are Scylla and Charybdis, two mythological creatures that have been described in the pages of the 12 cantos of the Odyssey. They are crying and screaming because Neptune bound them, so avoiding them to cause further currents and waves. The fountain, so ladies and gentlemen, represents the symbolical victory of Neptune against the evil forces of Scylla and Charybdis.
Is tomorrow a national holiday?
Pardon, ma'am?
Is tomorrow a national holiday?
In Messina, yes. You know, in Italy, if you just look at a calendar in diary, 15th of August is in red, so it's a festivity. But in Messina, it has got a deeper meaning because that's the celebration of our patron saint. And we have this very particular statue that's a symbolic representation of the Assumption to the sky of Maria. So practically there is a sort of symbolical, there are angels, the moon, the sun, and on the top there's Jesus is holding Maria, who's going to join the sky. And you know, in the past all the characters were real people, but in 896 there was an accident, so many people died, so the characters are no more real. But the characteristic of this procession is that 1,000 people barefoot, they carry the Vara. Vara has got like skates under it. The streets are just made wet with water, and those people saying Viva Maria, they pull the statue along the main street. The procession starts at 6 p.m., but it's still very hot, and you will see a line of people just wearing all white and blue clothes that are the color of Maria, and just pulling this statue. It's really an incredible performance of faith, strength, and belief. And there is a very particular point as the Vara has to turn, and there is a work of engineering just to make it possible to turn. If you Google Vara, V-A-R-A, you can see this kind of procession is really spectacular. After the procession, there are some fireworks directly under the stage of the patron saint. Fireworks exit from the sea. So it's for each inhabitant of Messina on the 15th of August there's big meal, Vara procession, between Vara and the fireworks a beer, and then fireworks. We have very good local beers too. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as we pass the Caronte ferries, you can see the beginning of a very long promenade where there are a lot of beaches, where in the hot days the inhabitants of Messina and tourists just refresh and swim in the clear water of the Ionian Sea. On the left, ladies and gentlemen, there's our regional museum. The museum conserves the memory of the past Messina. Even if you look behind the trees, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that outside the museum there are parts of houses, columns, capitals, statues. Those are things that could be saved after the numerous disruptions that characterized the history of Messina. Inside the museum, there are famous paintings of word artists. Above all, there are some Caravaggios and Antonello da Messina paintings. As we pass the museum, ladies and gentlemen, we enter in Paradiso. Paradiso is the first village of a series of 3 villages: Paradiso, Contemplazione, and Pace. Paradise, contemplation, and peace. Those 3 villages, ladies and gentlemen, are very important from different points of view. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, imagine as here there was nothing. Some fishermen moved to this area. They moved here, and the only thing they could build was a series of narrow houses attached one to the other. Observe those 2 rows of houses here on the left. Even if a lot have been restored, you can see this very particular characteristic. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that in the past families were very big. There were 12 or 14 people inside one family. And those people, ladies and gentlemen, they lived here on the left. And they just worked on the right. I mean, instead of cars, those people had their fishing boats. But if you observe the area during the drive, ladies and gentlemen, you can notice that there are different kind of houses. I mean, still today we have some original houses, even if they have been restored. But there are also flats, condominiums, apartments, above all, behind those houses. They were built or bought by the middle class, people who could afford a comfortable area of living with balconies, terraces, area where they could enjoy life. But furthermore, there are also some nice villas surrounded by gardens where the upper class moved at the beginning of the 20th century. So, ladies and gentlemen, a drive along those three villages is very interesting because it shows how the society changed and how those changes affected architecture too. But why do people move to this area, ladies and gentlemen? If you observe the characteristic of the Strait of Messina, and if you remember what I've told you, that in the southern part the Strait of Messina is larger, and that in the northern part the distance is very narrow, you can clearly understand that in the narrowest part it is very easy to catch the big predatory fish like tuna and above all swordfish. If you look on the right side, ladies and gentlemen, you can see one felucca, a traditional Sicilian fishing boat. Can you see the felucca over there on the right? If you observe the felucca, you can notice that felucca is a very particular fishing boat. There is like a tower in the middle, and in the front of the felucca there is like a bridge. What for? On the top of the tower, ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 or 3 people. They look for swordfish that are big predatory fish. And when they see one, they say in our local language, "Ubishi spada, ubishi spada." It means the swordfish. And they start giving indication. So it can happen that felucca suddenly changes the driving direction. And if you observe in the background, there are a lot of feluccas. Can you see them in the area of the Strait of Messina? When the felucca gets closer to the fish, one man, the eldest member of the crew, he walks along the bridge. He has got one harpoon, and he harpoons the swordfish. The harpoon is linked with a cable, so the swordfish continues swimming. Till tired, it is brought on board of the felucca. If you observe those feluccas here, ladies and gentlemen, you can notice that there are people standing. Oh, here there are some local fish on the right. Some fresh caught fish coming from the Strait of Messina. So back to the felucca, there are some people standing on the top. And if you pay attention, at the end of the bridge, there is a man sitting. He's waiting for the right moment to get so close as possible to the swordfish. I think that now you can better see the man and the people standing on the top of the tower. Today the sea is very calm, so there are a lot of people fishing, and there are consequently a lot of feluccas. You can think that swordfish is bloody or violent, But you know, it is one of the most sea-friendly way of catching fish. There is no usage of nets where some sea turtle, some dolphins, some sharks can be trapped. With felucca, you take only the fish you want to take. Tuna, a swordfish, or another big predatory fish. Tuna and swordfish, ladies and gentlemen, are basic ingredients of many local dishes. We can have smoked swordfish as antipasto. We can prepare a very good swordfish sauce. We can grill swordfish, or there are the famous braciolettine di pesce spada, swordfish rolls, as the very thin swordfish fillet are rolled with breadcrumbs, parsley, capers, olive oil, and a little bit of vinegar. I think it's not yet just lunchtime, but you can have an idea of our most popular fish dishes belong to the local gastronomic tradition. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, as I've told you while we were standing in the panoramic terrace of Cristo Re, I'm going to give you a lot of information concerning geography, history, art, gastronomy, tradition. But in case you are curious to discover some aspects of Messina and Sicily, in case you have questions, I'm here at your complete disposal. So don't hesitate to ask me questions.